We are going to get started with our protocol items. Eddie, would you join me? Good morning, Eddie. Happy Tuesday. What do we have today?
Let me make sure that. Mike, if we can have Mike Paredes, Miguel Paredes come up, please. He was just here a moment ago. Oh. For those that do not know Mike, Mike has been teaching CPR and Stop the Bleed courses or versions of that for almost 30 years at the City of Miami. Some years ago, when I heard that the City of Miami offered the course, I did not know who Mike was, and I attended, and within the 30 seconds, I fell in love with Mike. Mike is a character, a protagonist, energy, and because of his years of service, he walks you through the course in a way that I know that the substitute will have a hard time learning. I don't know if he's here today, but he was there at the last class, and there's a lot that we're in debt for his service, for his professionalism. And I was reading this book, and I thought about you when I read this. And it's Tuesdays with Murray, and I don't know if anybody has read that. Thank you. And those who haven't, I'm not getting any commission out of it, but it's an old man, a young man, a life's greatest lesson. It's by Mitch Albom. And there's a section here that talks about teacher. And I thought, Mike, this is really you. And it's short. And I think this is what you've left in the department and your legacy. A teacher affects eternity. He can never tell where his influence stops. Henry Adams. And I'll read it again. A teacher affects eternity. He can never tell where his influence stops. Because of your dedication, because of your courses, I have no doubt that regular citizens like myself and other of our firefighters have been able to save lives for what you teach. So thank you. You are a powerhouse of energy, and I hope that the fire department will find ways to bring you back, consultant, something to bring you here and keep you around because you're a powerhouse of knowledge. And guys, he deserves a big round of applause. Everybody stand up. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Not sure if we have the fire chief or someone from the, okay. I might know him a little bit better than as a student.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, I think Eddie covered a lot of it, but as you all know, nowadays with the way the world is, we're not the first responders. You and the public are the first responders, and that's what Mike has done by being a teacher of CPR, a teacher of Stop the Bleed, as you very well know with the recent events, how important that is. And he's also been a teacher of heart attacks, respiratory arrests, everything he has done for the city of Miami. So he has indirectly, as Eddie announced, he has indirectly been part of saving a lot of lives in the city of Miami. And one of the things that people don't know, that he was one of our founding members of our technical rescue team. That's a team with specialized equipment and specialized training that responds to special operations throughout the entire city. And most importantly, starting June 1st, he's going to go out on his Four Corners motorcycle ride from Key West to Bangor, Maine, over to Seattle, Washington, and down to San Diego, California. So we wish him well, and he's been a great service to the city of Miami. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Mike, you want to say?
I'm sorry? I'm not much for words. Well, maybe one.
Yes, you should say one thing.
Thank you all. This is really an honor. And one good thing is, even though my retirement is a bit bittersweet, I enjoy being retired, but I'm also going to miss a lot of the people here, my fire department family. But one thing for sure is my replacement, I have every confidence that he's going to do very, very well. So I think he's going to carry on the program and hopefully expand it even more. Thank you.
All right. All right. You want to do Fernando? Okay. So keeping with the theme of the fire department, I wanted to call Executive Officer Mark Moore, Captain Joseph Markowitz, Lieutenant Alexander Fernandez, Captain Grant Musser, Luis Ortiz, Lieutenant Jennifer Arguello, Susana Tadei, Lieutenant Brian Gonzalez, Jason Simmons, Kanya Vichot Bello, Kristen Guru, I'm going to mispronounce that one, Guruchari, Stephanie Plotka, Juan Jimeno, Alex Garcia, Sam Ortiz, Lieutenant Esteban Lora, Lieutenant Chris Gomez, Katia Arce, Loretta Gensi, Captain Ruben Behar, Captain Kian Atai, Latrell Pratt Wilson, Corey Maxwell, Alma Ross. Well, we'll give him, I think he might have misorganized them for me, so I don't know, I know they're all here, but let me, well, here we go. Actually, yeah, why don't we okay, that's, okay. Latrell Pratt Wilson, if you can help us, oh, thank you, good morning. Kiana Atai, Loretta Genti, thank you, good morning. Katia Arce, morning. Sam Ortiz. Alex Garcia. Alex, thank you. Juan Jimeno. Stephanie Plotka. Kanya Vijot Bello. Did I pronounce that right? Candia, okay, almost there. Jason Simmons. Jason, good morning. Susan Tadei. Susana, thank you. Jennifer Arguello. Jennifer, like that Arguello. Luis Ortiz. Joseph Markowitz. Grant Musser. I know there's one missing here because I have one for no? Who? Okay, but I have one for you. Oh, okay, perfect. May I borrow one? Do I have one for Kristen? Okay, we have all of those separate. Let me borrow the language. Yes, I think this deserves to be read, and I'll make a brief introduction to why we have all of this distinguished City of Miami employees here. Is throughout the time that we are hopefully over COVID, they were the folks that helped us process all the reimbursements that we could get from the federal government. So they were helping everybody on the front lines, federal and state, or just federal? Federal. And not only were they the group of people that were dedicated in that task, but they two things I think are worth distinguishing. One of them is that throughout their exemplary work, we became the example for all the other municipalities or governments that are seeking reimbursement to the federal government, which that is, we have a big country and we have a lot of people submitting to the federal government for reimbursement. That is an impressive distinguishment, so thank you. I think that deserves a round of applause if I can get one. And the other part that I thought was kind of remarkable, actually, and I took the liberty of highlighting it, is that, I'm going to read that section, the most admirable statistic is that the city did not hire a vendor to accomplish this. You guys did it. So that's impressive, with no external need, which would have asked for a commission or some sort of reimbursement fee. You got all those dollars for us by working together. That's amazing. So thank you. If I can get a I'm not sure that I really need to read this. I think I've covered it, but if there's a preference, I can read it, and I'll read it quickly. The Division of Emergency Management faced great challenges in managing the COVID-19 pandemic on our community. Recovering from the financial burden placed on the city because of our response effort is a primary example of the work that needed to be completed. The finance section of the Division of Emergency Management not only rose to the occasion, but excelled in this process. The City of Miami has become the gold standard, which I alluded to earlier, of how submissions of public assistance grant cost recovery should be conducted. FEMA is now using our city submissions as a template to instruct our other jurisdictions and states nationwide on how proper submissions for reimbursement should appear. Thank you. Our process, while effective, is extremely complicated. Our system requires a more precise description of the work created, leading to faster and greater financial recovery. To date, the city has submitted 110 projects for review related to COVID. In comparison, this is 10 times what the cities of New York and LA have submitted. The result is much higher reimbursement, but 10 times the work. Even in the state of Florida, we have submitted 5 times the number of projects for the state of Florida and the entire county. To date, we have submitted 110 projects to FEMA, totaling almost $50 million. We have been obligated to 50 and anticipate collecting nearly every dollar expended. This is the most admirable statistic, that the city did not hire a vendor to accomplish this. I am confident that you will continue to excel and serve in our community with distinction and contribution to the City of Miami. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. I'm just going to say a few words about this, and then I'm going to ask the city manager to say a couple words, because this truly is all about money and getting the money back into the city. And we all know that the city manager controls the money. So I'm going to speak briefly about from the inception of COVID, when none of us really knew what COVID was, how the coronavirus was going to affect us. The men and women of the City of Miami Fire Department had to figure out how we were going to respond to this. And we sat inside the Emergency Operations Center with the city manager with a couple weeks on the job. He came in, he led the team, and we did everything we could possibly do for our community to ease the burden as it relates to the coronavirus pandemic. But then we had an issue, which was we were spending a lot of money, and we were spending a lot of money that we didn't have. It's one thing where you go respond to a hurricane and you spend $2, $3, $4, $5, $8 million in the initial response. It's another thing when you're looking at such a long-term response and you're spending $50 million. When you're spending $50 million, it's important that you get that money back into the city coffers as quickly as possible, because that is money that we did not anticipate having to spend. So that's what this team in front of you did. We assembled a team of firefighters and civilians within the Department of Fire Rescue, and we asked them to come up with the best plan possible to bring the money as quickly as possible back into the city of Miami coffers so the money could work towards its original intended use. So they put a plan together. The plan was outstanding. It was so outstanding, it was modeled by the federal government to the other cities around the country. And they are now using the city of Miami's way of reimbursing large amounts of money post-emergency. So the effort has been nonstop. It has been tireless. And of the $48 million expended, or I'm sorry, $50 million approximately expended, that money is almost 100% reimbursed. And at the end of this process, we will end up with between $6 and $8 million more than what we initially expended. And that is due in large part to administrative costs that are allowable, reimbursements and things of that nature. So they have done a phenomenal job in such a short period of time. They have managed not only to reimburse the amount expended, but to exceed that amount and become a shining example for the rest of the country in how to do this type of work. So again, they deserve a round of applause for the absolutely incredible work that they have done.
Thanks, Chief. You know, every good orchestra needs a really good conductor. So I want to highlight Robert Hevia. Come here, Robert, because he sort of sits in the background. He flies very much under the radar. You know, he sort of walks away from having the spotlight on him. He deserves a tremendous amount of credit. The entire team does, how well they work together, having been embedded with them for more time than I probably wish I had been, at least early on. But having had an opportunity to really work ongoing with this group of people, with the emergency management team and staff, I'd like to sort of highlight Robert and the tremendous job he did in particular as a leader, in addition to obviously the entire leadership team in the department, because you know, when we were in those policy rooms and kind of walking through strategy, we were definitely in uncharted territory. So for us, you know, we were sort of managing this process day to day. And so it's a lot of credit how adaptable everybody was, how flexible we were as an operation. And I can't be more thankful because they made our job, finance's job, budget's job a lot easier. So they deserve a lot of recognition and credit. Robert, thanks a lot, man. Appreciate it. Good job. Photo time? Photo. They got the wide angle lens. How do you want to do it? Thanks, everybody.
This is the manager's one. What would be mine? Yours, last week.
Thank you very much. So, well, you guys balance it out a little bit. You know, you guys are like hanging out here. So we saved the best for last. Wow, look at that. So this is a recognition of not just service to the city. I think excellent service. I think everybody who's ever had an opportunity to work with Fernando really appreciates his style, his personality. It's definitely unique, but unique in a really good way. He kind of keeps everybody a little off balance, which is a good thing. And, you know, his dedication in a number of different roles, obviously, since he's been here, has been exemplary. And I've had a chance to work with Fernando from the outside. I've had a chance to work with him closely together for the past almost 2.5 years now. It's been an absolute pleasure. So Fernando, we kind of all chipped in, you know, everybody kind of put a little piece, and we got you a little gift here, which I know you would appreciate. This is going to go into your golf simulator that you keep telling me you're going to try to build, that your wife may or may not let you do. So.
Oh,
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So I don't know if you're going to put it in storage for the next 5 years till she lets you build it, but we wanted you to turn it around so everybody can see it. It's a 2022 Masters flag, pin flag. Well, Fernando's a big golf fan, sort of a golf player. Sorry, I'm blocking you. But he's a big fan, so we wanted to kind of send him on his way, and hopefully he'll really have somewhere to put that. And Fernando, I want to thank you for everything. I couldn't be more excited for you and the opportunity you're going to in the county. You know, they're going to be very lucky to have you. So congratulations. I know it's a new opportunity there. So I'm pretty confident that we're going to have a chance to work together in the future. Best of luck. I don't know if anybody else wants to say anything. Anybody else want to chime in? No, everybody's mum. You guys have all these great stories about him. You're not going to jump in and tell us.
well, I'm the newest kid on the block, but I've known him for quite some time because we worked at Miami-Dade County together, and I hope that we will work together again soon. He's fantastic, so ethical. He tells you what you don't want to hear, but it's in your best interest, and you can only respect someone for that. I'm going to miss you a lot because I really do depend on your expertise and your guidance while I'm trying to manage my way through the city of Miami and its intricacies. But best of luck in Miami-Dade County because you're still going to be doing what you're doing here, and that is serving our community. So thank you for your service.
Now, Fernando, and I'm not going to come after you. No, because we used to have very, very lively discussions every time that we were at agenda prep. And but let me tell you that I really, really admire you. You are an extremely qualified individual. You know your work, and you are going to be missed. You are going to be missed. Your comments and your statements and your analysis are going to be missed. And I wish you all the luck. I hope that you don't have as many problems as here in the city of Miami. It is more, it's quieter, and it's not so much interference. And that sometime in the near future you come back. Okay? We need you here. Good luck, my friend, and hit him straight.
No one else? Okay.
Pearls of wisdom on his way out.
Wow. So thank you all for the wonderful, kind words, and that is spectacular. I love it. That may not go into the garage simulator. That may just go into the office. So thank you very much. It's for me. This is a very bittersweet moment. I have enjoyed my 8 years at the city of Miami. I have grown personally and professionally thanks to all of you, actually. My staff, my colleagues, the elected officials, manager, even you, Vicky, absolutely have taught me quite a few lessons. Not always the good ones that I wanted, but I appreciate them all. You know, the true mettle of a person is not necessarily what you accomplish, but kind of what you leave behind. Hopefully, I'm leaving behind good memories to my staff. Hopefully, I'm leaving behind a work ethic and a particular style of, work hard but have fun, play hard, and just let everybody be themselves. I was only successful because of the people standing behind me here. I basically just gave them a little bit of instruction and let them run, and they've done amazing things. So I will definitely miss you all. I am sad to go, but I will definitely be coming back, and I know I'll be working with all of you in some way, shape, or form in the future. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for accepting me into this family, treating me like a friend and a family member, and I will definitely miss every single one of you. This has been the best professional experience in my life, and I want to thank all of you for it. So thank you.
At this time, we are going to have a moment of prayer, and we are honored today to have Pastor Raymond Carville come up and do the invocation for us at this time. He comes to us from the Living Word Baptist Church, and he is also a former City of Miami employee who has returned to give us blessings for this morning. Thank you.
If all can stand, I greatly appreciate it in the presence of God. Today, before I say my prayer, we're going to look at 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 11. 1 Thessalonians 5:11 said, "Therefore, encourage one another and build each other just as fact you are doing." Most gracious eternal God, we come humbly and willing, Father God, to submit our divine authority to your divine authority. Everything that you have placed in us, God, we give it back to you. So we pray, God, for the wisdom and understanding, God, that you have given to our elected official. We thank you for our city clerk, the city attorney, city manager. We thank God for every single directors and employees of the city of Miami. We pray, God, that your shield of protection will fall fresh upon each one of us, God. And we pray also for the families that have lost those individuals, those children, and the two adults, Father God. We pray, God, that you continue to strengthen them, guide them, and strengthen them. And most important, God, help all of us, God, to live in peace. Bless us, guide us, strengthen us, and thank you, God, for this wisdom. Thank you, God, for this woman of God as a chairwoman for the city of Miami. Continue to strengthen her. Continue to give her the spirit of Esther. Continue to give all of the elected officials the spirit of Solomon, God, so they can continue to govern us, continue to direct us, continue to keep us on the path that will build our great city of Miami, is our prayer. In the name of Jesus Christ of Nazareth, we pray. Let everyone that love the Lord say amen.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Commissioner, would you say the Pledge of Allegiance for us?
Gladly. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You all may be seated. At this time, I am going to call the special City Commission meeting for May 31st, 2022 to order. Today's special meeting has been called for the purpose of considering and taking any and all actions related to the agenda items associated with the May 26, 2022 Miami City Commission meeting agenda, as authorized by applicable laws and rules and regulations. The procedures for the public comment will be explained by the city attorney. The members of the commission appearing for this meeting thus far are myself, Christine King, chairwoman, Commissioner Ken Russell, and Commissioner Manolo Reyes. Madam City Attorney, would you please provide us with the procedures for the public comment?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Any person who is a lobbyist pursuant to Chapter 2, Article 6 of the City Code must register with the city clerk and comply with the related city requirements before appearing before the City Commission. A person may not lobby a city official, board member, or staff member until registering. A copy of the code section about lobbyists is available in the city clerk's office or online at www.municode.com. Any person making a presentation, formal request, or petition to the City Commission concerning real property must make the disclosures required by the City Code in writing. A copy of the City Code section is available in the office of the City Clerk or online at www.municode.com. The City of Miami requires anyone requesting action by the City Commission must disclose before the hearing any consideration provided or committed to anyone for agreement to support or withhold objection to the requested action pursuant to City Code Section 2-8. Any documents offered to the City Commission that have not been provided 7 days before the meeting as part of the agenda materials will be entered into the record at the City Commission's discretion. In accordance with Section 233F and G of the City Code, the agenda material for each item on the agenda is available during business hours at the City Clerk's office and online at www.miamigov.com. Any person may be heard by the City Commission through the chair for not more than 2 minutes on any proposition before the City Commission unless modified by the chair. Public comment will begin at approximately 9:45 and remain open until public comment is closed by the chair. Members of the public wishing to address the body may do so by submitting written comments via the online comment form. Please visit www.miamigov.com/meeting instructions for detailed instructions on how to provide public comment using the online public comment form. The comments submitted through the comment form have been and will be distributed to the elected officials and city administration through the day, so the elected officials may consider the comments prior to taking any action. Additionally, the online comment form will remain open during the meeting to accept comments and distribute to the elected officials up until the chair closes public comment. Public comment may also be provided live at City Hall, located at 3500 Pan American Drive, Miami, Florida, subject to any and all city rules as they may be amended. If a proposition is being continued or rescheduled, the opportunity to be heard may be at such later date before the City Commission takes action on such proposition. When addressing the City Commission, the member of the public must first state their name, their address, and what item will be spoken about. Any person with a disability requiring assistance, auxiliary aids, and services for this meeting may notify the City Clerk. The city has provided different public comment methods to indicate, among other things, the public support, opposition, or neutrality on items and topics to be discussed at the City Commission meeting in compliance with Section 286.01144C Florida statutes. The public has given the opportunity to provide public comment during the meeting and within reasonable proximity and time before the meeting. Please note, commissioners have been briefed by city staff and the city attorney on items on the agenda today. Anyone wishing a verbatim record of the item considered at this meeting may request it at the Office of Communications or view it online at www.miamigov.com. This meeting can be viewed live on Miami TV, the city's Facebook page, the city's Twitter page, the city's YouTube channel, and Comcast Channel 77. The broadcast will also have closed captioning. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam City Attorney. Mr. Manager, are there any items that the administration would like to continue, defer, or withdraw, or indefinitely defer at this time?
Good morning, Madam Chairwoman, Commissioners, Madam City Attorney, Mr. City Clerk. This time, the administration would like to defer and or withdraw the following items. RE1 to be indefinitely deferred. RE2 to be withdrawn. FR2 to be indefinitely deferred, and DI1 to also be indefinitely deferred. The chair of the Code Enforcement Task Force is still unavailable. And that concludes the items. Huh? I'll say it one more time. RE1
Yep.
to be indefinitely deferred.
RE2?
RE2 to be withdrawn. FR2 to be indefinitely deferred. And DI1 to be indefinitely deferred.
Good morning. Do you need us to repeat that for you?
I
'Cause
heard part of it. I didn't like the first part that I heard, so.
I know you need to understand the construct.
Can we do it again?
Did you hear me?
Good morning.
I said, I know you need to understand the construct.
The construct
Of it all.
of the debate, yes, or the context.
Yes. Mr. Manager, can you go through it one more time, please? for my colleague?
RE1 to be indefinitely deferred.
Okay.
RE2 to be withdrawn. FR2 to be indefinitely deferred. And DI1 to be indefinitely deferred.
Madam Chair, if I may, what's FR2? Can you be more specific?
It was an item sponsored by Commissioner Carollo with regards to some regulations as it relates to the waterfront guidelines design. He,
And that's withdrawn, or is that?
we're going to indefinitely, he's requested it to be indefinitely deferred.
Okay. Okay, madam, thank you.
Mr. Manager, I would like to co-sponsor CA8 and RE5.
Madam Chair,
Yes?
thank you. Just a question for the manager. The RE1 indefinite deferral, will that slow down any of our progress on the Marine Stadium?
No, the reason for the deferral is there were some, there was a request made by the commission to come back with some financial analysis, it's not actually finished yet. So before we bring this up for approval, we want to make sure that that analysis is presented to the commission. It shouldn't be a whole lot longer before that's ready, so we don't anticipate too significant a delay.
Yeah, that's a good question. I was thinking about that. I will also like, Madam Chair,
Please.
please, through the chair. I also would like to co-sponsor RE5. Remember, I was the one that presented the resolution to reestablish it.
That's right.
So I'm going to support it all the way.
Did you get that? Todd?
Todd,
Commissioner
you have
Reyes wants to co-sponsor RE5 as well.
You have a hard time
And
hearing
put
me?
me down for that too, Madam
You
Chair.
brought your, did you bring your hearing aids? Okay, I would like to co-sponsor. I did, she got it.
And Commissioner Alex Diaz de la Portilla would also like to co-sponsor.
Okay.
Anything else? Mr. City Clerk, do you have any announcements to make?
No, ma'am. Is there a motion for the order of the day?
May I
So
have a
moved.
motion?
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
At this time, we will take all public comments for items related to this agenda. You may stand up. Good morning, sir. Go ahead.
Good morning, Honorable City Commission. Brett Bebeau, Managing Director of the Miami River Commission, with offices located at 1407 Northwest 7th Street. Pardon me. Happy to provide the Miami River Commission's advisory recommendation regarding RE6. During the Miami River Commission's January 3rd, 2022 public meeting, Iris Escara from Greenberg Traurig, Jim McDonald from Cube 3, Barry Miller of Savino Miller Design, Alex Montecon and Guillermo Alvarez from MV Real Estate presented plans, a letter of intent, and a covenant stating they will comply with the Public Riverwalk Code requirements contained within Miami 21 Waterfront Standards, Section 3.11, Appendix B, and the Baywalk Riverwalk Design Standards and Guidelines, and the comp plan required working river disclosure. The presenter stated the project will activate the public riverwalk, which will connect in all directions as required by code. The project features the Dream Luxury Hotel, 2 restaurants, Garcia's Seafood Fish Market, an event space, nightclub, and managed dockage with a dock master. Please see the attached presented letter of intent and voluntary restrictive covenant for more details. In addition, the project will make enhancements to the connecting existing public riverwalk beneath Brickell Bridge, such as improved lighting. The public riverwalk will have 4 entry points for bicycles and pedestrians. The Miami River Commission did not consider and is not providing an advisory recommendation related to the city's financial considerations regarding this item. The Miami River Commission unanimously recommended approval of the presented Riverside Wharf. I appreciate your time and support for the Miami River District.
Thank you. Good morning.
Hi, Commissioners. My name is Ellery Lennon. My address is 7962 Camino Circle, Miami 33143. I'm here to tell you why you should vote no on Ordinance 11938, which is FR2 today, and instead support the planting and protection of mangroves in Miami.
Well, that is not before us today. Mr. City Clerk?
No, ma'am, but if the speaker is maybe not able to make it at a future meeting, this would be an opportunity for the provide public comment.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm a PhD candidate in University of Miami's biology department, and I research mangrove fish assemblages. Mangroves provide many valuable ecosystem functions and services that benefit us beyond storm surge protection. Mangroves absorb and dissipate wind and wave energy, which protects coastal lands and properties from storms. Their roots also stabilize sediment, preventing shoreline erosion. Mangroves absorb nutrients and pollutants. They also encourage the sediments to settle out of the water column, effectively cleaning and purifying coastal waters, and then they send that clear, low nutrient water out to the reefs. Our coral reefs need mangroves to filter the water for them. Additionally, through photosynthesis, mangroves sequester atmospheric carbon dioxide as blue carbon. Mangroves also generate productivity and diversity, which provides us with raw materials and food. By providing habitat, food, refuge from predators, and nursery grounds for fish, mangroves support high fish diversity and abundances. Mangroves also maintain fisheries, which is a billion-dollar industry in Florida. Florida is the fishing capital of the world. Recreational saltwater fishing brings in $9.2 billion per year and supports over 88,000 jobs. Florida's commercial fishing generates $3.2 billion in income and supports over 76,000 jobs per FWC.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning.
Sorry.
You can bend it.
Okay.
There
Sorry.
we go.
Pardon my height. Good morning, everyone. My name is Samantha Morejong. I reside at 12010 Southwest 105th Terrace, and I am also here to speak on FR2.
Hold on one second. Todd, I want to get some clarity because there was an organization that was here for a commission meeting and their item was also deferred. And we told them that they could speak at the meeting, but then they wouldn't get to speak when it appeared on the agenda again. Is that true?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I want to make it clear that if you speak now, you won't be able to speak when it comes back before this commission to give you the choice of whether you'd like to continue to speak now or if you'd like to hold it and come back when the item is properly before us.
I would like to continue to speak. If
Go
that's
right
all
ahead.
Thank you. I urge you not to pass this ordinance to establish certain requirements for city park and recreation waterfront improvements. To begin with, there are a multitude of economic, social, and environmental benefits provided by mangroves, including carbon sequestration. The proposed ordinance directly conflicts with the City of Miami's current greenhouse gas reduction plan, which aims to be carbon neutral by 2050. It would then propel Miami backwards on its goal. Mangroves support our fisheries, our fishing economy, and protect our vulnerable city from the impacts of storms and hurricanes. The alternative protection for our coastlines is extremely unpalatable, a 30-foot-high seawall that the Army Corps recently proposed for dealing with storm surge. In reference to the issue of mangroves blocking one's view of the watershed, the city can get mangrove trimming permits to preserve viewing corridors, per the 1996 Mangrove Trimming and Preservation Act, which can allow for mangrove trimming alterations such that the health of the tree and habitat can be preserved while providing people the view of the adjacent waterway.
Additionally, we should look towards our coastal engineers and consultants for their recommendations on the best shoreline protection strategies. Please support the community efforts that have been underway for decades to restore these valuable trees that bring so many benefits to our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else here for public comment? Go ahead. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. I just want to be clear. If I speak today, I won't be able to speak then the next time all of the commissioners are here. Is that correct?
If it's on FR2.
FR2?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I'll just speak today. It's fine. I'm already here, so.
Okay.
But I will be at the next one.
Okay.
All right, so good morning, everyone. My name is Erica Jasmine Cartaya. I reside at 310 Northeast 78th Street, Miami, Florida, 33138. I'm a conservation sciences student who was born and raised in Miami, and I'm speaking on my own behalf. Thank you for having me today. This, for me, is not a debate. It's a moment to educate those who don't understand the important benefits of having mangrove trees along the coast of Florida. The benefits include absorbing storm surge impacts during tropical storms and hurricanes, reducing the inevitable impacts of sea level rise, maintains biodiversity by providing a suitable habitat for several different species, helps maintain Florida's coastline by preventing erosion, and the list goes on. I encourage you to do your own research about these benefits and of sea level rise projections for Miami. Voting for this ban would mean regressing what we collectively already know while sacrificing all the ecosystem services the mangrove trees provide simply for a better view of the water. That is not a wise trade-off. I vote no against this absurd bill to ban growing mangrove trees in Miami, and you should too. We need mangrove trees now more than ever. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you everyone so much. I'm also here to speak on the mangrove ordinance. I will not be likely to be here, so I will be traveling. My name is Laura Munoz, and to me this is something that I really feel inside of my soul. I've spent so much time in front of mangroves, looking at all the little baby animals, you know, the mothers, the little chickens, the little birds, and not chickens, birds, and they're breathing. And I remember looking at the mother birds and the baby birds and thinking about this earth, this mother of ours. We say we respect mothers, but this mother, this earth that sustains us, that gives us life every day, this really, to me, they're lungs. These mangroves are lungs that are allowing us to exist in this city. And I know that a big question is housing. And I am every day listening to communities and to them talking about housing and that they don't have places to live. But they're also asking for green spaces. Because if we have houses but they're flooding, but we have houses and there's no water, then it really doesn't matter if we're full of housing because there's gonna be no earth. And I really, really, from the bottom of my heart, ask each of you commissioners, ask our mayor and the folks, Reyes, Carrojo, everyone, please work with us. Miami can be a green city. Like, we can be a green city that doesn't have to just be gray, but we can bring forth so much that truly honors our nature, our earth, and ourselves. We don't have to make foul choices between housing and greenery, between mangroves and people. That is not something that we have to do, and I pray we can do that. Thank you.
Good morning.
Before I speak, I have a question to the ruling that was just brought up about not being able to speak on another ordinance. If the ordinance is changed in any way, am I able to speak on the ordinance once that ordinance is changed?
Mrs. City Clerk?
Of course.
I believe the statute gives you one opportunity to speak. I don't think the statute, I think it's silent when it comes to if the legislation changes. I believe it's a one-shot deal.
A one-shot, as in, so if the ordinance changes, I can't speak again. I can, C-A-N, can speak again.
No, I would say that you get an opportunity to speak once.
One time. Even if the
Now, when it
ordinance
comes back on second reading, you'll get an opportunity to speak on it then. So I would probably look at it that way. If it changes in between first and second reading, you do have an opportunity to speak on the item when it comes back for second reading.
Okay. Okay, and one last question before I speak. Is there, just because I don't know, is there an opportunity for the commissioners to request for a withdrawal of an ordinance, or does it have to come from the sponsor?
No, it's the will of the body.
The will of the body. Okay, so the will of the body could request for a withdrawal of this ordinance at any time?
Yes, sir.
Okay, just verifying. Okay. My name is Albert Gomez. I reside at 3566 Vista Court. Today I'm representing myself. I am in real estate and concrete manufacturing. I do concrete technology manufacturing. I'm working on several research projects with FIU on devising new concrete technologies that recruit biology, that prevent scalding and fluoride penetration, that extend the life of concrete. We're also using different 3D printing technologies to enable molds for mangrove planters, integrated in an interlocking fashion into greenways and seawalls, so that we can have hybridized seawalls that enable mangroves to grow with them. I have Cuban parents that aren't necessarily the most green folks. My reality, not a characterization, it's my reality. And the fact of the matter is, my mom has overcut mangroves before, and I've had to plant mangroves on her behalf. So effectively, I know the story of, me está quitando la view, it's taking away my view. I get it. But the reality is, the Florida Bar, the state, the federal government have all determined that the value that the mangroves bring versus a seawall or any reason to remove them far exceeds that justification. So I just want to stick to that point and say that the economy means something to me. It means something to maybe be able to sell more concrete, but there's not a value that can justify this. I hope you guys have the will to request for a withdrawal. This really doesn't work.
May I ask you a question?
Sure.
You made a statement that you all have Cuban parents, that they are not green.
Yeah,
I mean, are you making a hasty generalization that
No,
Cubans
it's my
don't care
reality.
about environment?
No, it's my reality. It's my reality. I live it every day.
Well, that's your reality, but it doesn't have to be. I mean, when you said Cuban parents, it means like you're painting everybody with the same brush.
They've used.
I just wanted to know.
I wanted to give you the argument. They use the argument of that. Oh yeah, we are here. We've been through so much, and now they're going to take away our view. After that, they've actually used their Cuban experience as a reason.
Okay.
Sir, that argument is used by many people that are not Cuban.
I mean, prove me wrong, Manolo. Prove me wrong, Manolo.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner.
Oh, yeah.
Anyone else for public comment, please? Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'm Rachel Silverstein. I'm the Executive Director and Waterkeeper of local nonprofit Miami Waterkeeper. I wholeheartedly agree with everyone's comments about the benefits of mangroves to this community. I won't repeat them here, but I do want to bring up something for the commission to consider as part of this ordinance should it come back, and that is some of the legal hurdles that this presents for the city, especially in terms of waterfront development. So there are several laws on the books that protect mangroves, but also that require alternatives and especially environmental alternatives to be considered when you're getting a permit for waterfront development. And those include being able to consider green alternatives like mangroves. So if those are not an option, it's going to really tie the city's hands when trying to get permits for waterfront development, and that's a big issue for the city. Another issue is if the city ever has to do mitigation, for example, for mangroves, and you need to replant mangroves, you're going to have very limited opportunities to do so because parks are one of the last places that we have to actually plant mangroves. So I really want to urge the commission to consider all of the legal ramifications and all of the laws in place to both protect and promote mangroves and how it might affect city's waterfront development, of course, in addition to all the benefits that mangroves provide for the community that have already been mentioned. So thank you for your consideration, and I appreciate this has been deferred. And we've already sent, letters from FIU, UM have sent letters, Miami Waterkeeper, and a lot of other organizations have sent letters. There's been scientific letters. There's been lots of information provided to you already. So please let us know if you have any questions about that. We're happy to discuss or provide any additional information needed. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Hi, good morning. My name is Carolina. I am representing myself, and I reside on 625 Southwest 9th Street, Miami, Florida, 33130, also talking about FR2. And I do urge the commission to have the will to hold. That was a great question by the last gentleman about regarding whether the sponsor had to be the person to retract the bill. I think it would be best for this not to be deferred, but actually to be withheld. And I'd like to bring up a different point. I work in tourism and hospitality, and tourism and hospitality is a really big engine of our economy, especially in Miami-Dade. About 60% of our revenue is generated directly or indirectly through hospitality and tourism. And the reason that people come here, the reason that they love coming to Miami so much, not only do we have the third largest coral reef system in the world, here in Florida, but our nature and our water and the wildlife that we have is very important, and they love to see it. You don't understand how excited tourists get when they see a dolphin and a manatee and a stingray. It's really something that they very much enjoy, and they come here and they spend their money, go on sailboat tours. And if we don't have that nature and we don't have that marine life, we won't exactly be able to have tourists come here. So where will a majority of our people in our economy be able to work? So this is very important, not just for the fishing industry, not just for the environment, those are all equally important, but also as well as tourism and hospitality. I feel like that might be a little bit overlooked. So I do want you to keep that in mind, because this is a big, it generates a lot of revenue, and we need mangroves in order to protect our marine life, for these fish to nest and nurse, and for our soil to not be eroded. So thank you, Commission. I hope you guys make the right choice.
Thank you. Good morning.
Hi, good morning, everybody. My name is Dave Dobler. I am with the Biscayne Bay Marine Health Coalition. I live at 800 West Avenue in Miami Beach. I'm not a resident of City of Miami, but I do a lot of work here doing cleanups of trash and litter from the shorelines. Last Wednesday, we held the Biscayne Bay Marine Health Summit. This was our third one. The City of Miami was a very generous sponsor and supporter of our event, so thank you very much for helping us put on such an event where we discussed the still critically dire situation within Biscayne Bay, mainly caused due to nutrient load and pollution coming from storm drain systems, from septic tanks, and just all the trash that's coming from people littering in the islands. At the end of the event, we wanted to highlight some success stories and wins, and we saw a presentation of the new living shoreline at Jose Marti Park. It's gorgeous, it's beautiful. It gives an opportunity for people to reconnect with nature and to see what natural Miami used to be like. And so this ordinance to basically ban mangroves from city parks is really, not a very popular, it was not very popular when it was discussed at the summit. Why? Because Miami is the majority seawalls, right? That's dead shoreline. And so now this proposal is going to eliminate any opportunity for living shorelines and instead basically create more dead shorelines. So I ask Chairman Carollo, to withdraw FR2, please. Thank you, Vice Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for allowing us to speak publicly. Thank you to all of my mangrove colleagues over here. I would guess you can guess what I'm here to speak about today. My name is David Carson. I live at 844 Jefferson Ave. I'm a sea level rise scientist from the Netherlands. I also have a great affinity for this city. My brother lives here. My nephew was born here. I moved back here to marry my wife. This city means everything to me, even though I'm not necessarily from here. I would like it if I can come back to this city in the future when I'm your age. My nephew can spend time here in the future when he's your age. You know how it is. Unless we're actively planting many, many more of these, there is not going to be a Miami to come back to. They're like 1 million strong fingers that are holding the ground in place. They also trap the sediment and cause the ground to rise. There are so many things that are factually incorrect about this ordinance, but I want to ask you to think more than about the facts, about the science, but to think about your families and to think about those of us who want to keep living here, who want to keep coming back here with our families, with our future families. Please withdraw this. It is completely inappropriate and the opposite of what adaptation looks like for our city. We can be a marvelous city, a marvelous city. And in many ways we are. I moved back here for a reason, but we have a chance to do it again, and we can plan a hell of a lot more of these.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else here for public comment?
Good morning, Commissioners. Elvis Cruz, 631 Northeast 57th Street. I'm not going to talk to any one specific item, but rather to the entire order of the day. Please be advised, there are many citizens who wanted to come here today to speak, but they heard in advance that some items were going to be deferred, and therefore they did not come. Please keep that in mind as you digest everything you've heard here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here for public comment? Seeing none, the public comment period is now closed.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Reyes?
I want to recognize we have a program in the law department, which is, it's quite helpful for future attorneys. And I want to recognize all the law department interns that they are sitting on the first row. Could you please stand up? Those are the future attorneys. Take a good look at them. Okay? Good job. Thank you, Vicky. You're doing a hell of a good job.
Madam Chair. Yeah, right?
Yes, I will endorse it. Yes.
Commissioner?
Madam Chair, I want to pull CA9 just for further clarification from the manager's office. And then I would like to move all the CA items other than CA9.
A second.
Vice Chair, welcome. How are you? Good to see you.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Thank you. Good morning. Just wondering, why were we listening to an item
That's not on the agenda.
Indefinite.
Well, as advised by the city clerk, they could speak on the item today, but then they won't be able to speak on the item when it comes back.
Well, if it comes back when it's indefinite, that means unless the person that has put it in the agenda wants it back, it's the only way that it'll come back. But when it's indefinite deferred, basically we're taking it out of the agenda. Or
At least 6 months. It's going to be out at least 6 months, yes.
But we can, but we can bring it back whenever the
Whenever
commissioner
you
wants.
want, within the 6 months.
Okay.
But
That
not,
means-
it doesn't have to come back before 6 months.
let me tell you why this has been indefinite deferred. I heard that there's a guy named Billy Cohen. Yes, Cohen, that's the name. That is working on a new mangrove. It's a medical marijuana mangrove. So I'm waiting for him to get that done to see if that's what we want to plant out there. Since we've approved medical marijuana in Miami. No, I'm teasing, guys.
I know.
I'm teasing. I'm teasing. The reason that I'm deferring this, it's not because I got a dozen people that come in. I could give you all kinds of reports from scientists, from universities, from all over the world, is basically, and they have their own reports. Basically, what my concern was, which is the Miami River, which we don't even know if mangrove can end up growing there. My concerns have been taken care of, where we're going to have living seawalls in front of our parks. And living seawalls provide many of the things that we heard up here, but it's not going to block views. Plus, just a small little area, even of mangroves. In the overall picture, you need a lot more for it to make any significant difference. So, having said that, I just wonder where a lot of the people here were when so many things were being approved in Miami without putting mangroves in front of them. And it's only when it comes to our parks that the people that can afford to buy a fancy, expensive condominium by the bay, whether they're from Allapattah, Overtown, Little Haiti, Liberty City, Little Havana, and the only places they could get to see the bay in Miami, since they can't afford to buy a kind of those buildings, is our parks. Why were parks the only places that we wanted to block the view? And why are parks the only place that we're going to save the planet? And by the way, the lady that was putting her hand up, the Florida, when you said Miami, it's really Florida around. It's not the third largest. Coral Reefs is the fifth largest. So it's indefinite defer, and I don't intend to bring it back because my concerns have been taken care of in reference to the new seawall at Jose Marti Park in the Miami River.
Okay. Is there any other Commissioner Russell?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. And I think we probably all agree. I'd like to offer direction to the manager to come up with a mangrove management plan in conjunction with DERM. I know that we have mangrove trimming permits in some of our parks, but not all. But there is no active maintenance. There is no set Parks Department policy around mangrove maintenance. And I think that might actually be a good idea that would help us not look at mangroves as a negative or something to eliminate, but rather something that we can live with and manage. And I think there's a way to do so and still protect views, but yet protect our resilience as well. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Are there any other commissioners that would like to pull any of the CA items? Nope. May I have a motion?
So moved, I already moved it.
Second. So, all in favor?
Aye.
The CA 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 10 have passed. And now, Commissioner?
CA 9.
CA 9.
Mr. Manager, or Annie? Probably, right? At the end of the day, you're the boss, the kind of boss, right? Tell me about the pool that we're accepting. Good morning. Tell me about the pool that we're accepting. And
Okay.
Okay, just walk me through it very
Sure.
briefly.
Good morning, Annie Perez, Director of Procurement. So we had a lot of little contracts for different landscaping projects, for public works, et cetera. So what we decided to do was to consolidate a lot of those contracts and make a pool. We also created, we were able to create an opportunity for small businesses to be able to participate in the pool through the alleyways. We worked closely with Public Works on that. It's an open pool, so we can add vendors at any time. As a matter of fact, the vendors that were deemed non-responsive, we're going to allow them to cure once, this is hopefully
So,
approved.
Madam Chair, the ones that were deemed not responsive they're still allowed to be responsive, for lack of a better.
Once it's approved here, yes. We already prepared letters on what they need to cure so
Okay.
that they can become responsive.
I just want to make.
Because we want to make sure we include everybody, as many firms as we can.
Okay, how many firms are you including now?
Give me a second. Right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
8 firms. How many were deemed non-responsive?
I want to say like 5 or 6.
Okay, I'm good.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I cannot say that I'm very happy with the landscape and maintenance that we have. I cannot say that I'm happy, but always been asking for more color, more, and everything is green in Miami. But I was wondering, if every district, you see, we can have, select with the pool, within the pool, select or do I would say a competition or whatever, so we can select the landscapers that, to 10 our landscape. Because if you go around the city of Miami and and particularly on the circles, you see, you go around the circles, and I don't know if other commissioners are happy, but I'm not, the way that they've been maintained. And most of the trees that, take Coral Wake, for example. I had to ask. I said, listen, get some flowers in there so it looks a little bit prettier. And I haven't got, I got a little bit, but everybody knows that I have been asking for a better landscape, that you go to any part of the world, you're driving on the streets and you see how well-maintained, how flowery it is, how happy everybody, the area looks because of the landscape. Our landscape, in my opinion, it is not the appropriate landscape for a city as Miami, you see.
Commissioner, I will get together with Public Works and make sure that if there's, I suppose that you have had these conversations with
Yes,
the
I have,
administration.
and
Okay.
Juvenal is right here, and he knows that I am always
So-
beating on, asking all the time, because believe me, I travel a little while. I travel a lot, and there are other commissioners here that have traveled more than I have, and wherever you go to any other country, you see a beautiful landscape, you see.
I've been traveling my whole life.
Good morning, Commissioners. Juvenal Santana, Director of Public Works. We've been given a task to work with the Planning Department, with the Office of Environmental Resources, with Capital Improvements, with the Parks Department, to put together basically a policy that includes the plant selections, and we have heard the need to incorporate more than just evergreen trees, so we understand.
Okay.
Commissioner, have you seen MLK Boulevard?
Excuse me?
Have you seen MLK Boulevard, Northwest 62nd Street?
Yes, beautiful.
They have done an excellent job. It's colorful.
Yes, but that's
Cuban
MLK.
Memorial Parkway in Commissioner Carollo's district is also, they've done a really good job.
Well, I'm talking about
I think so.
certain areas around my district, and particularly the circles and some parks too. Some parks, and I have been arguing about the use of native flower trees, that they don't require that much maintenance, that we can.
Xeriscape.
Yeah, that's where.
Even in deserts, even with deserts, they can do all kinds of creative stuff these days, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
this is
In
where I
areas.
was heading to, if I may, Chair.
Please.
Okay.
There are many native plants and some that are not necessarily native, but they could withstand our heat, that have beautiful flowers that attract butterflies, hummingbirds, and are pretty to look at. And they don't grow huge, where they blocks your view also. So if we could, be given some of those in each of our districts, so that before you go and plant, we could choose what we would prefer to put out there. And I don't know how we buy them, if we have our own nursery, if we go down south to get them, but it just seems to me that it would behoove us to have more of the native plants that have flowers in the green spaces where we plant.
Very good.
Okay.
Understood.
Thank you, Juvenal, and you know that I'm very persistent.
No problem. That's
Thank
what we're here
you.
for.
Thank you, you're doing a good job, buddy.
Thank you, sir.
Do I have a motion for CA9?
Yes, so moved?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move RE2.
No, that
I'm sorry,
RE2
I'm
has-
sorry. RE3,
Mm-hmm,
RE4,
mm-hmm.
and RE5.
You don't want to move RE6?
Not, well, I
You
think that's obviously.
Madam
There's gonna be
Chair?
some conversation about RE6. I just want to get the things that are not, we're not going to have a conversation about, right?
Yes.
Madam Chair, we have an amendment to RE3. You want to?
There's an amendment to RE3?
Yes.
Yes, good morning again, Annie Perez, Director of Procurement. The way that RE3 was written, it contemplated us piggybacking off of a contract that Jackson has for the medical equipment. What we found out last week that we're not allowed to piggyback because we're not considered a public health agency. So we will be bringing forth an emergency ratification item for the equipment in the very near future.
So.
So we can't move it.
So you're,
Everything is good except that there's language in the reso that fire drafted that says that the equipment was included and
Right.
it's not.
So you want to eliminate that language?
just that
Yes.
the equipment is
Okay.
not
Yes.
included?
As amended
And
then.
everything else
Okay.
can go?
Yes,
Okay.
thank
Okay.
you.
So we have
So RE3 as amended?
RE3 as amendment, 4 and 5.
Yes,
Do I
ma'am.
have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
RE3, 4, and 5 pass unanimously.
Madam Chair?
Yes?
Just to comment on the Goombay Festival as we will have another commission meeting before then. But I'd like to make sure all city commission offices are very familiar and welcome and invited, and it's going to be a great citywide event. And I really thank you all for your support.
Okay. And I believe there's an amendment to RE6 as well.
I think it's a covenant, right?
I don't know.
Madam, I was advised, Madam City Attorney?
Yes, I guess before a motion is made on page 1, it simply just needs to read Charter Amendment number 1, and it also needs to reflect resolution number 22-0180.
Is anyone from staff here that can speak on this item? Okay.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jacqueline Lorenzo with the Department of Real Estate and Asset Management. At the last meeting, we had a directive to bring a ballot question for an extension of the lease for Riverside Wharf. That's right next to the MRC on the river. The ballot question would authorize the manager to extend the lease for 50 years, increase the investment from $7 million to $50 million, require the tenant to install a new seawall and riverwalk, and increase the rent by 50%.
Is anyone? Commissioner Carol, Commissioner DLP?
On?
RE6.
I'm sorry, I was reading something else related to this item.
RE6.
On RE6. So what did you say? I'm sorry, can you repeat it?
Sure. So the ballot question would authorize an extension of the lease, essentially 50 years in addition to the already prior 50-year term. $7 million investment would increase into a $50 million investment.
From 7 to?
50.
50, okay.
There would be
Over the 50 years.
just the investment of the development that they're going to be implementing on the site.
Okay.
There's going to be a new seawall, a new riverwalk, and rent will increase by 50%.
5-0.
50, yes.
Which will make it, at the bottom line, rent will be what?
Approximately $330,000. We did obtain preliminary appraisals that came in lower than that amount. So this is above fair market value.
And those preliminary appraisals, what were they? And when did you obtain them?
Sure. So the first one was $230,000 a year, and the second.
How much?
230,
Okay.
and the second one was 290,000.
When?
I'm sorry?
When did you get those appraisals?
When?
Yeah, when?
Just recently, this week.
Okay, and they're willing to give again how much?
330 approximately.
Okay. What is the cutoff, if we have anything there? Is this just flat rent? We're not making any profits on any of the retail they have or anything else?
No, there's also percentage rent.
Well, okay, that's where I'm heading to.
It's 3%, right?
3%, 3%?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, hold on.
No, that's low.
15%, right? 15% of gross revenues. The 3% is the increase annually.
The rent increase
Of the
is
base
3%. So the 15%, am I main Madam Chair? The 15, to follow up on Commissioner Cardoso, the 15 is on gross revenues or gross retail sales?
Gross revenues.
Okay. Limited to what?
It includes any revenues generated on the site. So if they operate anything on the site themselves, then that would be triggered. And if they have a tenant, then those revenues would be triggered as well.
And it's 50 years.
For an additional 50 years.
An additional, so they already have 40.
They already have 50 from when
Well,
it
they
was
can't.
authorized.
Right.
And then
They have 40, how many do you have left? Yeah, I think she's a little bit off on the number.
For the record, Javier Avenio with law offices at 1450 Brookville Avenue, Bills in Sunburg, on behalf of the lessee. I'm joined by Iris Esquera from Greenberg Traurig, as well as Alex Montecon from MV. To answer your question, we have a 25-year lease term remaining with 2 extensions of 10 years. So that is 45 years. And so this would be 50 years on top of that.
How many acres is the whole site that you're getting from us in the city?
0.73.
How much?
0.73.
Not even an acre. Okay.
Yeah.
Not even an acre.
And to clarify a point from Commissioner Coriel before, the base rent is increasing, but as you indicated, our expectation is that the rent would be higher than that once you factor in gross revenues.
How much commercial space are you going to have there?
The total
retail
commercial space?
Square feet?
About 80,000 square feet.
Okay, last question that I have, there's a little small piece of property, almost insignificant, that's at the tip. Are you including that with the city property and the other properties in your build-out?
No.
It don't matter to me, I'm just asking.
No, it wasn't part of the RFP.
Okay. All right.
May I have a motion?
Well, no, not yet. I mean, so the hotel. Tell me a little bit about the hotel.
The hotel is actually located on the private property that's adjacent to the city property. So the city property will consist of food and beverage outlets exclusively.
But it's part of the complex.
It is. They'll be connected through bridges.
Is it about, it's about 20,000 square feet, something like that, in that range?
Total number of hotel rooms is
No, the city property.
165.
The city property?
I'm sorry?
The city,
No, the city property is 0.73 acres. Yeah, the city property is 3/4 of an acre.
3/4 of an acre. And how many units in the hotel?
165.
How many stories?
It's 8 stories.
The other side has how many acres?
The private side is a little higher than that. It's almost an acre. I mean, they're fairly
Condensed, you're going vertical, basically. You're doing it so as much
Correct.
vertical as you can.
Correct.
And that little property that Commissioner Carrera referred to, that's not included in any of this?
It is not.
There's no partnership at all involved there?
No.
No? Okay.
May I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
And Chair, just for the record, there's one whereas clause on page 2 that needs to be amended. Whereas pursuant to Resolution R-22-0108, adopted on March 10, 2022, City Attorney was directed to draft the ballot language contained herein. Thank you, Chair.
Iris just reminded
I
me
didn't
of
understand the word he said.
one clarification for the record. Ms. Lorenzo mentioned that the investment is from 7 to 50. It's from 7 to 30 million, which is what's in the legislation. That's the minimum investment increase. All the other numbers that Ms. Lorenzo indicated are correct. I just want to clarify that for the record.
Thank you. Todd, could
So
you
from
read?
7 to 30, from 7 to 50, a big difference, right?
Right. Hence why we
What's
wanted
$20
the
million
clarification on,
between
even though
friends,
the
right?
legislation says the 30, we wanted the clarification for the purposes of the record.
Thank you. Todd, could you please read that again a little bit more slowly?
But, yeah, and then I want to.
Yes, ma'am. On page 2 of the resolution, there's a whereas clause that needs to be amended. Whereas pursuant to Resolution R-22-0108, adopted on March 10th, 2022, the city attorney was directed to draft the ballot language contained herein.
And you have one more question?
One more question, which is, remember, we had a little bit of a debate whether this property was going to be in your district, Madam Chair, or my district, right? As we were doing it. Obviously, it's an important part of what the city of Miami is doing and redevelopment. The river in particular, I think is very important that we move forward. The concern that I have is community benefits. Are there any community benefits attached to this particular project in mind? What are you thinking in terms of parking, in terms of beautification,
Have you met
landscaping?
me?
What?
Have you met me?
Yes.
Do you think there will
I'm
not be
fully
co-
aware. You know what? It's a check and balance here.
I see.
I'm keeping you honest.
Okay.
I want
I
to
don't
know.
think
I want to
there is
know.
not
I
a
want to know what you're doing.
project coming through my district that
You know,
will not
Ronald
have
Reagan, Ronald
a
Reagan.
community
By
benefit.
the way, we have Ronald Reagan Park now in Alapata. You know that, right?
Oh, I didn't know
yeah.
that.
So he used to say, "Trust but verify."
That is true.
Trust but
I
verify.
loved his story. by the
Ronald
way.
Reagan Park next to the PBA. We named it with the backing of Commissioner Russell. Shocking. He said one for the Gipper. We have Ronald W. Reagan Park. It's pretty cool. I think.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Tell me the community benefits.
Good morning, everyone. We actually have a series of community benefits, and actually this project requires city commission approval. So the project in and of itself with the details will be coming before this
I know,
board,
I know.
hopefully in the next month or two, depending on how we do on scheduling. But what we're hoping to come before you and explain all those community benefits. Just to rattle them off, just so you have some on the record, but we will be going over that in detail. We have improvements to the seawall, we have resiliency, the road in front of us. After the First Avenue Bridge was done, the First Street Bridge was done, we ended up having to raise that street even further and work with Public Works.
So, I'm sorry, the seawall. How many mangroves are you putting in the improvements?
I am not familiar with that particular question, Commissioner. I'd have to come back to you with a response. But we are doing a whole series of programs that we will be bringing before you at that time.
Well, the community benefits are important because even though it's in Commissioner King's district, it's a block away from where my district begins now. It's across the river from where Commissioner Carollo's district is. So in essence, the whole area needs to be beautified. And the community benefits are going to matter to this entire commission. There are issues, like, for example, you know, soccer stadium, Hyatt, and other big issues that matter to the entire city, irrespective of what district they happen to be in. This particular area, it's close proximity to the district I represent. It's across from where Commissioner Carollo represents. So the development is important for jobs and for the area and beautification of the area. But the surrounding areas are not in great condition, as you well know, Mr. Montagon, right? So you know very well that you need to spend some dollars, some community benefits given from you over there to benefit the rest of the surrounding areas, not only your particular development. So I want there to be a serious commitment in terms of community benefits and a specific commitments when it comes back before us as to what those community benefits are. So you may be very demanding, but I'm right behind you in
We'll
terms
do.
of being demanding.
We'll do, and we'll
Very
make sure
important.
that before we come back with the project, we'll make sure we sit down with everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are we ready to vote?
Yes, ma'am.
All in favor?
Aye.
Item
you very
passes
much.
unanimously,
Thank you.
As amended.
as amended.
As amended.
We are now on FR1.
Can we move the entire agenda in one fell swoop, or we can't do that?
Yes.
So we don't have lunch?
That would be fine with me.
All the
Mr. City
so
Clerk,
moved,
can
so
we take
moved.
up the rest of the items? FR1?
This is the last item that
That is
requires
the
any
last-
action.
Right, that's the last item.
Yeah, that's right, we did the other one.
Do you need to read it? It needs to be read into the code?
Yes.
Madam City Attorney?
Thank you, Chair. An ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending Chapter 2, Article 11, Division 2, Section 2-887 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida is amended titled Administration Boards, Committees, Commissions, Standards for Creation and Review of Boards Generally, Quorum, Requirements, Exceptions, more particularly by including the Miami Arts and Entertainment Council on the list in Section 2-887B of the City Boards,
subject to quorum requirements provided for elsewhere in the city code, further amending Chapter 2, Article 11, Division 10, Section 2-1141 of the city code titled Administration Boards, Committees, Commissions, City of Miami Arts and Entertainment Council, Purpose, Powers, and Duties, more particularly by adding Section 2-1141-4, the authority to expend funds in furtherance thereof, and deleting Section 2-1141-7, the 501c3 corporation provision, and providing authority for the solicitation and acceptance of financial and non-financial support, further amending Section 2-1143 of the City Code titled Meetings, Quorum, and Voting, Attendance Requirements, Parliamentary Authority, Rules of Procedure, Minutes, Assignment of Staff, Legal Counsel, and Notices and Filing of Records, more particularly by amending the MAEC's quorum and voting requirements detailed in Section 2-1143B, further creating a new Section 2-1144 of the City Code for the MAEC titled Budget and Finance, establishing a special revenue fund account line titled City of Miami and Arts and Entertainment Council, authorizing the city manager and the city departments to create the necessary budgeting and accounting structures to account for the MAEC's funds in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles, further deleting obsolete references containing a severability clause and providing for an effective date.
May I have a motion?
Move.
Any discussion on this item? Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously.
Madam Chair?
Yes?
Question for Commissioner Carollo. I think I heard you say earlier that the mangrove item, your concerns have been addressed. We had deferred the item before you came in. Are you open to withdrawing it instead of the deferral so that it doesn't come back?
Yeah, I have no problem doing it. What we had asked for was an indefinite defer, and then we were going to tell the manager not to bring it back, but I'm fine with a withdrawal.
Would that need a reconsideration, Mr. Clerk?
I'll move to reconsider.
So,
Okay.
seconded?
A second.
So may I have a motion?
I move to withdraw the item.
No, that was a
no.
reconsideration.
No.
We already passed the reconsideration, right?
No.
Did we pass it?
Todd.
So there's been a motion by Commissioner Diaz-Abatia, second by Commissioner Reyes to reconsider item FR2?
Right, so we move that.
No?
Beg your pardon?
Yes.
Were you seconding Commissioner Diaz-Abatia
reconsideration.
motion to
Yes, I
reconsider
was,
FR2?
but we haven't voted on it.
Correct.
Let's vote on it,
That's
and
what
then I'll
I'm
move
saying. Said we
to
haven't
withdraw.
voted.
Correct.
Now we vote on it, and now we move to withdraw.
Yes.
So,
I got
yes,
ahead
we
of
need to
myself.
vote on the reconsideration.
Okay,
Aye.
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 all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now I'll make
move
a
the-
motion for withdrawal.
And second.
And
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
The item has been withdrawn.
That's it.
Thank you, gentlemen. And that will conclude our special commission meeting for May 31st. Thank you, gentlemen.
Chair, did you want to hear, this, just a discussion item, doesn't require any action?
No,
no.
we read it.
We
Okay, and
wanna
then for the
hear-
record, there are no mayoral vetoes.
We want to have lunch.
Commission adjourned.